You've seen them in the movies and on TV, but have you ever seen a real-life superhero, costume and all?
He calls himself the Crimson Fist. He's made it his mission to clean up crime and litter.
With outreach, a little bit crime fighting, and a little bit street theater.
Crusading for a safer, cleaner community. Many weekend nights, his wife, Metadata, walks the Zone 5 beat with him. So why the costume, the commitment? The Crimson Fist says he's helping. In Atlanta's Castleberry Hill neighborhood, Caitlin Pratt, Fox 5 News.
I patrol all different neighborhoods. Castleberry Hill right now is kind of our exclusive spot. Outside of here, I patrol downtown, I patrol midtown, and every place has its own little problems that they particularly deal with. We kind of have to adapt what we do depending on where we're at in town. I've patrolled Castleberry a lot over the years, but a couple months ago, one of the local business owners, I guess he'd been talking to somebody at his bar who had heard about me. And, he contacted me, said, hey, I need some way to get attention brought to the problems that we're having here, because, he felt that nobody was really focusing on the crimes that were occurring to, the people that would come to his bar and have their cars broken into. What the guys are doing is, instead of having to bust out the locks or pick locks or break the windows, they come right underneath your door handle here. Only if you have a housing like this, where everything's in one big piece. They can go right up underneath your door handle, trip the locking mechanism. They're in your car a lot of times without you even really being able to see much of the damage to your vehicle. If this was a car that I had just come across tonight, we've got basically little notes that we check off. It basically just says that we were doing a routine patrol of your neighborhood, saw some damage to your car, and you might want to check your valuables. We got a little check boxes, whether it was a broken window, whether it's damage to the door handles and stuff like that, and then put a little signature on the bottom to tell them who particularly it was that came by their car. That way there's enough accountability for everybody on my team.
What's your name?
Crimson Fist, man.
Crimson who?
Crimson Fist. How you doing tonight, my man?
Day my birthday.
Happy birthday, my man.
Yeah, thanks.
I'm really nervous. I'm supposed to be going to that shelter on Monday night and reading to a bunch of kids.
So you're nervous about reading to kids?
I'm way more nervous about reading to kids than I am about facing a riot, so.
That's Crimson Fist! Thanks for being here!
Have you heard of anything going on around tonight in town?
No.
I'm trying to keep an ear. I left my damn phone at home,
yeah.
So I can't look anything up. But I know they cause, they just had the whole Zimmerman verdict thing came in.
Yeah.
I know there's been threats of riots and stuff, so I'm kind of like,
not
no, I know, but I'm just, better safe than sorry, sort
absolutely.
of thing. But,
I didn't hear any gunshot shit either.
Yeah, that was the thing. Like as soon as he was like, yeah, I just got a text that said, the not guilty verdict came in, and then I just heard sirens coming from the other side of the tracks, and I was like, not now. George Zimmerman, one way or another, is an example of somebody using excessive force, somebody going outside of the boundaries that they legally can. I mean, he was expressly told not to follow this kid, and he did. And at that point right there, no matter what happened, he was, across the line of what he should have been doing to help his community. The verdict came in the night we were on patrol, and there have been protests and rallies and marches for 3 days after the verdict came out. And since there had been threats to riot, I made sure that I wanted to be on hand as much as I could for any of these things that were going to happen. I went to that rally without my mask on because I wasn't afraid to hide my face from those people. I knew that what I was going to be doing there today, that I was proud of it, and I wanted to be able to be held accountable for my actions if anything happened. I'm here to make sure that nobody ruins this march. And people were really cool about it. I mean, I got hugged by people towards the end of the rally. You know, it was a great atmosphere. And the point of becoming a community, volunteer, a security patrol, a superhero, whatever you want to be, is not to do the job of the police. It's to do the job of a citizen and to help the police do their job. You're not out there to be the judge in the situation. You're out there to make sure that nothing happens, but not to instigate something to happen. I'm the Crimson Fist, man. I gotta go save the day. I'll be back. I started becoming a community activist in 2005. This was after, a long childhood of drug abuse and just kind of generally being a delinquent. I realized that what I was doing with my life was a big part of the problems of the world. I decided that I was going to go out and fight crime. I had a very angry approach to it. I was going to go out, I was going to find people, committing a crime and just beat them up, tie them up or whatever and leave them for the police. A good 2 years or so went by of just me going out every night, throwing on a black hoodie or whatever and walking around town. And I eventually finally came across crime. I remember I was walking down the street and I heard from, about a block down and one street over, I heard the sound of glass smashing. And I ran over there and there were 2 cars that had their windows smashed out. And then a third car where there was, all I could see was a pair of legs hanging out the passenger side window where somebody had smashed the window and they were in there taking things at the moment. I grabbed this kid by the back of his pants and pulled him out of this car. And, I was 19, he was probably 17 years old. And I pulled this kid out of the car and I hit him in the face. And basically I hit him until he stopped fighting back. I had him there and I told him, if I ever see you out here again, you're dead. And I let him go and he ran off and the adrenaline rush of everything wore off. And I looked down at my hands and, literally they were covered in his blood. And that's kind of where the idea to become something bigger than myself came out of. What I did that night wasn't what a hero does. It's what a vigilante does. It's hurting people instead of helping people. And so I created this whole persona because I wanted to be reminded, anytime I'm out on the streets trying to help people, I wanted to be reminded that there's a line between helping people and taking things too far, and I don't ever want to cross that line again. So the Crimson Fist is my reminder every day of my life that I can't take back what I did to that kid, but I can make sure that I never do that again to anyone else.